GMOs are one of the most controversial areas of science. Genetic engineering is used in many fields, but even though medical applications like GM insulin are widely accepted, the debate heats up when it comes to food and agriculture. Why is that? Why is the same thing treated so differently? Let's try to get to the bottom of this and explore the facts, the fears, and the future of GMOs.
Don't destroy our food. Say no to GMO.
Protect biodiversity. No GMOs.
No GMO. 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 Farmers like you are part of the problem. Let's stop GMO.
No, don't you know genetic modification helps us all? GMO helps us produce more food from the same amount of the land. This helps us farmers meet safe food, safe life demands, and it helps us the economy. Addressing the crop gene editing may promise higher yields, but at what cost? Gene draft could destroy biodiversity and once ecosystems are damaged, there is no turning back.
We deserve to know what's in our food. How can we trust genetic crops when there's no crops they are safe in the long term? No GMOs, no GMOs, no GMOs, no GMOs.
Hey, what's going on? What is all the noisy? Please try to understand, we are hopeless without it. We are battling drought and pest everything. Genetic edited crops save our farms and feed more families. Please try to explain to them.
I understand your concerns, but why don't you join us inside so we can discuss this?
Fine, let's talk about it. We must know what is happening behind our back.
I'm a scientist who specializes in gene editing technology. In my opinion, GM technology is a key to solving the global food crisis. If you think about it, drought, pests, disease, all these things are going to waste farmers' work. But with gene editing, we can make crops more productive, more resistant to disease, and more tolerant to drought. While some people are skeptical about safety, the science is rigorous, and our technology has been tested and tested numerous times, and it is safe. I believe that if you learn more about this technology, you will see its potential.
I'm the average consumer, and I probably speak for a lot of people. We don't distrust the science, but to be honest, we are still a little worried. Are genetically modified food really safe? Are there potential long-term effects on our health? More importantly, we want to know if we are eating is genetically modified food. Can it be clearly stated on the label? For us, choice is important. If these questions can be answered, I think more people will be willing to accept this technology.
I represent an environmental group. To be honest, gene editing does sound advanced, but as someone who cares about ecology, I have a lot of concerns. For example, could genetic drift affect nearby wild plants? If everyone grows GM crops, will biodiversity be reduced? Also, how do we make sure that crops don't have knock-on effects on insects and other species? I'm not totally against technology, but I could like to see adequate ecological risk assessments carried out before using it to ensure that there is no irreversible impact on the environmental.
I am a farmer, and to be honest, I'm a big fan of genetically modified technology, because what you may don't know is that bad weather or pests can ruin a year of hard labor. This is a disaster for farmers. But gene-edited crops are more resistant to diseases and droughts. We are helping us increase yields so we can make a perfect. That is a boon for us. But one thing I worried about is how consumers will review it. Because consumer rejection worries me greatly. It doesn't matter how well we grow GMO foods if everyone rejects it. Therefore, I hope that advantages of the technology will become more widely known so that we can grow and sell it without fear.
I am an ethicist, and in my opinion, I think gene editing technology has great potential. But we should not ignore the ethical implications for genetic editing. For instance, we need to consider, will this technology affect the environment and affect the ecological balance? Genetic editing make existing crops disappear, or will it affect the existing species of crops? Also, will it cause a bigger shift on sociologically? Will it cause a bigger shift between the rich and the poor? Or can genetically modified crops be used by everyone? These are just some of the questions that we need to think about. But more importantly, I think we need to consider that whatever is being tested on, it should not be taken for granted as human, as it might have serious health implications later on. Humans should not be considered as test subjects that can be experimented on. I'm not completely against genetically modified organisms, but I hope that in order for genetically modified organisms, there are transparent rules and a rigorous regulation to promote technology and avoid possible and ecological risks. And so the protesters and the farmer accepted the invitation to join for a roundtable discussion along with the scientist and the ethicist.
Okay guys, hold on. Over the years, we are facing more extreme weather. High temperature, irregular rainfall, floods and droughts make it difficult for farmers to have a good yield. Agencies like World Food Program predict that climate change will be one of the major reasons for world hunger. Oh, it's so bad.
It's so bad.
Data clearly shows that food insecurity will continue to increase. Regions in Africa have the highest level of food insecurity, and it is these regions and also have the most cases of extreme weather. This is how gene editing technology allows us to create crops resistant to disease and climate change. It helps farmers maintain a good yield and helps to meet the global food demand.
But how can you be sure that there are no side effects or health risks?
What about biodiversity?
Yeah.
Gene modification could devastate natural ecosystem. How will you address that? Is it sustainable for our agriculture?
We are not ignoring the concerns, and that is why we are conducting rigorous safety testing. Transparency is key to gaining public trust.
Transparency is vital, but so is accountability. What if unforeseen health impacts emerge years later? Ethics demand we proceed with caution. Transparency is vital. How do you plan to make sure consumers can make informed choices?
So far, research data shows these crops are safe, and still we are advocating for clear labeling so consumers can make informed choices.
But what about the health impacts? Yeah. Humans are not guinea pigs to be experimented on. We must be careful.
We conduct rigorous testing on all fronts before putting out such technology. And without public trust and transparency, our work would not progress.
But don't you see that technology benefits us all? Can we agree to further testing and public feedback? Because it's not only us farmers who benefit, we all benefit from safe food and sustainable agriculture practice.
But we must make sure that we have a strong ethical framework to guide further development.
Yes, seafood and more transparency.
If the environment risks are considered, will you be cooperate?
We are ready to work with everyone. Let's find a way forward together.
Together!
In summation, the topic of genetic modification in agriculture is a highly debatable issue. This is mainly due to the polarized views on the topic and the lack of readily available information to the public. On one hand, farmers struggle with dramatic weather patterns due to climate change, and this greatly affects the yield of the crop. Gene editing technology can effectively improve crop yields and disease resistance, which significantly enhances the crop's ability to adapt to climate change. As the global population continues to grow and climate conditions become increasingly complex, this technology is a powerful response to the ongoing food crisis. On the other hand, health and safety issues are top concerns for consumers. Genetically modified foods may have negative impacts and cause health problems such as allergic reactions, antibiotic resistance, and long-term health complications, especially for sensitive groups such as children, pregnant women, the elderly, and patients with chronic illnesses who would face potential health risks. Genetically modified crops may lead to biodiversity loss. Environmentalists are concerned that the widespread cultivation of genetically modified crops could disrupt the balance of natural ecosystems. Many genetically modified crops are designed to be pest resistant and herbicide tolerant, which gives them a competitive advantage over other plants in the wild, and this suppresses their growth and reduces biodiversity. Furthermore, monoculture farming exacerbates the loss of agricultural ecosystem complexity,
making the system more vulnerable to pests and climate change. To bridge this gap, more collaboration and access to information to the public is needed. Through strengthening the publicity of science popularization, the public can have a better understanding of genetic modification, the application and the safety of gene editing technology, and eliminate misunderstanding. Communication between the public and the scientific community. At the same time, the scientific community should maintain an open communication and dialogue with all parties concerned to jointly promote the rational application of gene editing technology in the agricultural field.